Hey, hi kids. I'm Anur. I'm your friend and your teacher. And this video is primarily meant for kids who are trying to learn Unity. So of course, you must be knowing what Unity is all about if you play some games. So Unity has been used to make some really famous games like Among Us and Call of Duty Mobile. So Unity is a very popular game engine. I think you already know about it. That's why you've landed up with this video. So we run an academy where we teach kids like you, and even if you're just starting out with Unity, you're a college student or you're a software engineer, welcome to this video and this channel. But this channel is primarily meant for kids who are trying to learn Unity and trying to make awesome, interesting things for themselves, and maybe publish it out to the world as well. So in this video, we are going to learn something called navigation mesh. Okay, and it's a very cool, interesting little feature or a system inside of Unity where you can make objects find the shortest route to some point in the scene. Okay, how does it do that? Basically, Unity inside Unity there is this system called the navigation mesh system, which helps this object find the shortest route to a particular point, and does this all of it automatically. Okay, and so we'll quickly start with today's video without too much of boring theory, and I shall minimize my own video feed here so that you can see more of Unity. So here we have Unity version. This keeps happening all the time. So if we have Unity version 2019 over here, that's what I'm using, but it's okay if you're using some other version as well. I shall also post the codes separately in the link. Okay, so let's start. This is a blank scene that I've just opened with Unity, and what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to create a plane, right click in the hierarchy view, create a 3D object and create a plane. This is where we will create our navigation mesh. Okay, so that plane has got created. The very first step is going to be marking this object as static. Where will you find the static flag? Right up here. Can you see over here in the inspector? You have to click, make sure that the plane is selected in the hierarchy window and click on the static flag. Okay, actually to be very precise, you have to select only the navigation. So make it only the navigation static. We don't want to bother about other static flags. We'll learn about that later. For now, just make sure you mark it as navigation static. Okay, clear all drawings. This will tell Unity that this object does not move, and um, this is going to be static so that it can calculate the path. It can make a mesh, a navigation mesh on which it will calculate a path to travel or for the object which you want to travel on that. Okay, so once we do that, the second thing is we'll go to the window menu, go to the AI option, go to navigation, and a navigation window will open up here. We'll click on bake. Now what is bake? Bake will add the data, the navigation data. So right now in a plane, every point on the plane is walkable. But suppose you have some object in between. So clearly an object that is going from one point to the other will be blocked by that. So this, when you bake it, Unity will make sure that it does not create a path through this. Okay, so it will not count this point as connected to any of the paths. So it will block the path from here. We'll see how that actually works in action. What we'll do is quickly click this point and bake, and we'll have to save our scene before that. So I'll quickly save our scene, and I will call it a nav scene. Any name is fine. Let's call it a nav scene. Okay, and then we will go on to bake. Okay, it's already baked it. Okay, forget about some of the errors that will pop up. So here, if your gizmos button is on in the scene view, you'll see a kind of blue area overlaid on top of your plane. This is the walkable area of the nav mesh. Okay, the next thing we'll do is we'll also create a 3D object. Let's see how this works with obstacles. So we'll create a cube out here, and by pressing R, these handles will turn into resizing handles. We'll make this into some sort of an obstacle, okay, in between, so that there's only very little space to go around. Okay, and then we'll also mark this as static, You could have done both the steps together, but I just wanted to bake it first and show you what baking is all about. You'll go to mark it as navigation static and again go to the navigation window and rebake it. So you will see clearly that there's an area marked out around this obstacle where the Navmesh agent, which is the object which will actually travel, will not be able to walk. So that brings us to the next point, which is to actually create the object which will travel on this navigation mesh. So we'll create a cylinder. Oh wait, a capsule works better. It's more human-like. So we'll just delete this off. Delete it from here and let's create a capsule 3D object. Just move it outside. Make sure its bottom touches exactly on the nav mesh. This touching part is very critical because if it does not touch the mesh, Unity will not be able to tell whether it's this object actually is on the on the walkable area. So Unity will never be able to move it around. So if it's like Unity will think it's hanging in the air, so I really have no business moving this object around, and you'll get an error that the agent needs to be on the navigation mesh. Now we'll go back to the plane again and we'll add a component over here called Navmesh agent. Okay, and then we'll quickly write the code on for this. So code will be, let's call it nav script. So in this code, what we are simply going to write is we're simply going to give it a point. Wherever we click, we're going to make this Navmesh agent travel to that point. So let's quickly cut to the chase, quickly write the script, and then I will also talk about a few other things quickly. So let's open this script out here. Where did the script go? Something happened. Yeah, okay, there it is. So I'll click on this, I'll double click on the script and Visual Studio Code should open up. There it is, it's opening up. So in this script, we'll write some code to make this capsule move around on the navigation mesh using the navigation component, the nav mesh component. What this video is not going to cover is moving obstacles. I'll quickly tell you what, actually you can actually, I'll actually tell you how to write, how to make sure even moving obstacles are counted while calculating the paths. Okay, so that's our nav script over here. And what we are going to do, the very first thing we are going to do is going to pick up the nav mesh agent component and put it into a member variable. So nav mesh, I guess it's M with the caps, M mesh agent. Okay, and the first thing that you do even before you cache the component in is to use this, add this namespace unity engine dot AI. Okay, AI stands for artificial intelligence. And pathfinding algorithms and pathfinding systems all fall under the broad topic of artificial intelligence only. The same artificial intelligence that you keep hearing about all the time. Okay, the mesh agent, let's call it that. And I guess you already know how to get a component that is attached to an object on the script into a variable. So you make a function call to the get component method, get component, and in the angular braces, you add the Navmesh agent component and end it with parenthesis, open close parenthesis, semicolon. Now there you have your Navmesh agent. Now we'll write the code for getting the mouse down event. Input.get mouse button down, and 0 stands for the left mouse button over here, the 0. 0, the middle one is 1 and the right one is 2. So all this code will only trigger when you click somewhere. The next thing we'll do is we'll create an object of type ray. Okay, and this is how we get the ray in from the, so what is a ray? Ray is basically like a laser beam that points from the mouse point, the position of the mouse pointer on the screen into the game scene. Okay, how do you get that? So there is a function called camera.main.screen point to ray, and in that you need to pass in the mouse position. This is a mouse position in 2D. It will actually convert this from 2D. Actually, it is 3D because it's a vector 3, but the Z is 0. So basically, it does not calculate the depth. It will give you an X and Y position of the mouse position on screen. So it will convert that mouse position on screen into something called a ray. A ray is simply like a beam going in from the screen, from the point of the point at which the mouse is on the screen into the scene. So that's how it will come to know where you have clicked in the scene. And then the second thing we'll do is we will create an object of type raycast hit. This will contain all the information about the hit, like where did the hit happen, which object did it hit, which collider did it hit, etc. So we'll just call it a hit info. The next thing we'll do is actually cast a ray. So we will put this inside a if condition physics dot raycast. And for this takes two, like there are multiple overloads of this function. Overload means the same function takes different types of parameters. The overload that we are going to use here is going to take only the ray and the hit info, the raycast hit object, hit in out, hit info. Don't ask me what is out at this point of time. Just simply understand that it is something called an output parameter, by way of which the function can send the information out via the parameter itself, not with the return value. So if it has hit something, what we'll do is we'll just make our Navmesh agent go to that point. Set destination is the name of the function which will make this Navmesh agent go to that particular point where our ray hit something. So how will we get that point? Simply hit info dot point. Okay. So I guess that's about it. We may see some compiler errors because I'm not my IntelliSense is not working. This is my best guess about the spellings of the, yeah, there it is, raycast hit. So I'm pretty sure the C is not caps, the raycast hit. And with that, let's see if we are good to go. Let's move back to Unity. That's it, done. Okay, and just for the sake of making it a bit more, okay, first of all, let's adjust the camera angle here a bit so that it's more easy to look at. So one trick is to align your scene view camera, okay, and then the way you want, and then say, and then click on the main camera in the hierarchy view and say game object align with view. So your game camera also becomes similar to this. Now everything is of the same color, so it's a bit hard to tell one object from the other. What we'll do is we will quickly create a material, or let's see if we already have some materials over here. Okay, let's create a material very quickly. Create material, and let's give it a different color. So drop it onto the plane. Okay, let's give another color to the other obstacle. So let's create a material again. And you should be giving proper names to this. I don't want to spend too much time on naming, etc. So I'm just giving, staying with the default names. So let's just give a yellow color and drop it over here. Okay, it does not look too great. So let me change that to, okay, that's better. And let's see whether this works properly or not. Let me maximize this. Yay! So you see a little capsule thingy finds its way on the plane. So I click somewhere, the ray hits that point, and that point is applied to the set destination of the Navmesh agent. So you see how cool this is. Just clicks. I'm clicking on this particular point. So let me just annotate and show you where I'm going to click, and I click over there. Okay, so this is where I'm going to click. Okay, and click. Yay, so it finds the shortest way. So it may appear that this is not the shortest way because probably there was no path from this side. You may have thought that it should have gone from here, but there's actually no space between the obstacle and the edge of the plane. So that's probably why it took the longer route. So it's a really cool little component and system. So I hope you understood everything in this. Okay, and one more thing is, suppose you have moving objects which you want the Navmesh agent to consider while calculating the path. Then there's another component called Navmesh obstacle that you can put on top of those moving objects. Those objects will not be marked as static. Make sure that those objects only have the Navmesh obstacle component and they are not marked as static. Okay, so let's quickly go over what we did. We created a plane, marked it as static, opened the Navmesh menu. Sorry, opened the navigation menu from the AI in the window, in the window menu. From the AI submenu, we got to navigation. Then we baked the Navmesh in, and then we added a Navmesh agent to the capsule, to the object that we actually wanted to move. And then we wrote a script which will basically tell the Navmesh agent to go to a particular point. But that point needs to be on the Navmesh, otherwise you will get an error. Also make sure that the capsule is touching this plane, otherwise this will go for a toss. It will not work. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching this video. If you have any questions, please do post. We are very responsive. We'll quickly answer your questions, and who knows, we may even help you out with something if you're stuck. Okay, so thanks a lot again for watching. And if you have any questions about Code Wizards Academy and our classes for kids, do reach out to us on 7032512444. That's my WhatsApp number. And that's about it. So keep watching videos from our channel and and do subscribe to our channel as well. Thanks a lot.